Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining another Lead Squared webinar. I'm Vaishnavi Shetty, and I work in the marketing department of Lead Squared. Today's topic of discussion is the human touch in digital age, balancing automation with personalization. According to a PwC study, 75% of customers value human interaction despite technological advancement. In a digital first world, bridging this gap is essential. In this webinar, our experts will talk about how you can use advancing technology while also building and maintaining a strong and human relationship with your consumers. So today we have with us Shivam Verma, who is the CTO and co-founder at Chat360. He is passionate about using technology to solve real-world problems. At Chat360, he is helping industry leaders use AI-powered tools for better communication and marketing. Shivam, thank you so much for joining us today.
Pleasure is all mine. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We also have with us Vishal Suri, who is Associate Director of Strategic Partnerships here at Lead Squared. He brings over a decade of experience working at various startups and enterprises, driving growth and optimizing operations. Thank you so much for joining us, Vishal. Unfortunately, Anand could not join us today due to an emergency. But before we begin, I would like to bring your attention to the bottom right of your screen. We have a chat tab there and a questions tab there. We would love to hear your thoughts and questions, so do not hesitate to put them there. As well as if we whatever questions, we'll take them up during the sessions or at the end of the session, so we won't miss them out. Um, so without further ado, let's begin. Shivam and Vishal, over to you.
Thank you, Vaishnavi. Thank you very much. All right, fantastic. So, Vishal, I think so. I wanted to understand. So, you've been in the industry for quite some time now, right? Almost a decade. So,
Yeah.
what exactly are the biggest impacts of automation that you see probably on efficiency and overall cost as per your experience?
Hey Shivam, hi. Good to have this conversation with you. Yeah, I mean, see, automations and AI and the impact of it on business operations has been changing periodically over a period of time, right? Because as someone said that technology advances very very rapidly, right? Every year, every 2 years, you see that there is a massive change in technology. And now that after OpenAI launched Chat GPT, right,
Yep.
technology is probably advancing even at a very very faster clip, right? But over the period of time, what I have seen at least is there are some things that are very constant with respect to automation and how it is impacting the overall efficiency. I would say the common theme that I have seen across the period of time is you know technology really helps the organization in making their services, making themselves available 24/7 to the customers. It is not that we are working in a defined working hour, right? So customers can only reach us between 9 to 6. That is not the case right now, right?
Sure.
Every organization, or I would say every smart or an advanced organization, is available for its customer 24 into 7 via different products. It can be a chatbot on their website, or their WhatsApp chatbot. But the theme is, whenever the customer requires you, you should be there to the customer to answer their questions, right? That has
Exactly.
been one of the common themes that I have seen. Another really common theme that I have seen across customer facing products, or customer experience centric products, is contextual conversations, right? So every time an organization would really want its teams to have a very personalized or a contextual conversation with any customer or a prospect, right? So for example, if Shivam is a user of one of my products, right, and if Shivam comes back to the organization to talk about the product, the person representing the organization should know that, okay, Shivam is the user of the product and these are his past experiences with me. So
Absolutely.
contextual conversation has become very very important, and over the period of time I have seen this as a constant theme across different products that I have seen, right? Contextual conversation and 24/7 availability.
Sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Cool. So, Shivam, in fact, I have a follow-on question for you on this theme itself. You know, See, automation has become increasingly advanced, right?
Yeah.
What do you see, as part of your interaction with the customer or as part of the landscape? what are the biggest upsides and downsides you've seen in terms of automation generally per se, and as well as conversational engagement? What are the upsides and downsides that you see generally, Shivam?
Sure, Vishal. So, I think Vishal at Chat360, we've been into existence for the last 3.5, 4 years now, and we've been working with customers across various industries.
I think Shivam lost his connection. I was actually wondering, is it my connection or is it Shivam's connection? But yeah, I seem to know now that it was Shivam. Yeah,
Yeah. We'll wait for Shivam to join back in a minute. It's okay. Yeah.
yeah, no problem. That's fine. We'll wait for Shivam.
Yeah. Till then, we would love to hear from our audience. Like, where are you from, and what are you excited to learn about today? So that yeah, we can pick it up.
Sorry, I think there was some issue at my. Is it any better now?
Loud
Yes.
and clear, Shivam.
Perfect. I'm so sorry. There was an issue with the internet. All
Yeah,
right.
I and Vaishnavi were discussing that Shivam didn't want to answer that question, so he dropped out.
No, not at all. Not at all. In fact, we are a veteran and we have been seeing a lot of problem statements in the common domain and solving for businesses as well. So anyway, so I'll pick up your question back again. So what I see right now, yeah, I hope you can hear me.
Yeah, I can, Shivam, I can.
Perfect. Yeah. So I think that being in the industry for the last 3.5, 4 years, solving the common problem, the problem statements that you've mentioned, uh, the majority of the upsides that I see broadly fall into four or five categories, right? So starting from being available 24/7 in order to cater to your customers. As of now, in case if you do not use automation, you end up losing a lot of customer queries. You do not attend to your customer queries well in time. The turnaround time to your customer queries is heavily delayed, which is something which customers definitely don't want, right? The second scenario that I see is that you can handle a large number of customer queries at scale. So in case if you are scaling up your business, you will definitely be getting a lot of customer queries, requests, etc. And technology is the only way in order to do that, right? So scalability is something that is definitely achievable using that technology, and it is a major upside of the solution that we provide, right? Then I see consistent customer service experience as well, right? So you do not have to be dependent upon an agent or what has happened to him or her probably during the day. The experience is same throughout. With heavily reduced turnaround time for any query resolution as well, right? The intention over here is to essentially automate 70 to 80% of the queries that are coming in, which can essentially be categorized under the mundane activities. That can probably be your FAQ automation or probably any queries that have to be fetched from the backend side in case if you have deeper integrations with the databases or systems sitting on the backend side. It enhances the overall experience, right? So these are the major upsides that I see. And with respect to the downsides, I see that in case if you've not planned your journey well, right? So you end up essentially providing wrong information to the customers via the bot, which is something you should definitely take care of during the UAT phase, or ensuring that there are thorough feedback loops that are in place. Basis which you can enhance the iterations, make it an iterative process, enhance what exactly is the output going out from your bot, right? So the key essentially here is that you should find a balance where automation and human intervention strikes well, right? And essentially the automation should complement the human support rather than completely replacing them, is what I think, Vishal.
Understood. Beautifully explained, Shivam. In fact, this is a very good segue for my other question that I planned for this. So when we say talk about automation, right? There are so many areas where we can plug automation or the role of AI in, right? So what is the right way to ensure that we are not overdoing automation or we are not overdoing the role of AI? How do we ensure that the human touch still remains relevant, right?
Sure,
Any
sure.
any yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. See, I think, as I told, right, so you need to understand first what exactly is the problem statement that you intend to solve via the technology and automation, right? You need to ensure that technology essentially enhances rather than diminishes the value of human interactions, is what I think in a customer journey, right? So, the automation should essentially handle your routine, repetitive tasks, wherein you free the human agents. To essentially focus on more complex tasks, emotionally nuanced interactions that have to be done. Uh, that's what my 2 cents are on this, Vishal.
Yeah, I think Shivam lost his connection again. Yeah, Shivam is here.
Yes, and I'm not sure why is it happening. Is it stable now?
Yeah, you are audible. You are visible to me.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, so I'm saying I lost you there for the last 10 odd seconds. Maybe see,
Yes.
my intent of the question was, how do we ensure that the human connection stays intact and in fact is adding value to the customers, right? So yeah, how
Yeah.
do we ensure the balance about it?
Yeah, so the intention over here is to essentially automate and the FAQs as much as possible, right? So you need to categorize the journey first. What exactly is it that you want to fall under? You would probably be putting under the FAQ automation. The bigger agenda is essentially to free up the human resources and the agents to handle up more situations like wherein the customers are more irritated for that matter, or establish more meaningful connections with the customers. So you need to understand what exactly is your journey looking like, and then accordingly you need to take actions or probably design the entire journey, wherein you end up freeing essentially your agents from the mundane activities and ensure that the technology handles it for you. And I'm sure with the technological advancements, with due period of time, this percentage is definitely going to increase down the line.
Got it, Shivam. Understood. Understood. Yeah, so moving on. So how do we ensure that, in your interaction with the client, how do you ensure that the customer choose the AI solutions while still ensuring human support is readily available for complex situations? What are those themes or what are those milestones that you look at that, okay, they choose a self-responding solution as well, but also there is a human intervention for complex situations that, let us say, a bot or AI is not able to answer.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Good question, Vishal, over there. So I think we at Chat 360 have been essentially emphasizing the businesses to spend some time on the customer journey, understand the customer experience, right, and designing the customer experience that designing customer experiences that encourage the use of AI solutions, while ensuring human support is available for complex situations as well, right? So probably the businesses could essentially ensure that there are seamless integrations with recommendations engines on the backend side, or databases, or knowledge bases for that matter, wherein there is personalization that is provided during the conversation, right? So uh, you should not be reaching out to your customers with a very mundane chatbot for that matter. There should be a personalized feel and experience to the customers that should be provided while they start conversing with you, right? So essentially, a hybrid approach is needed, wherein I think you need to adopt a hybrid approach where AI handles the routine tasks which are deeply integrated with your backend systems, and in case of exceptional cases, the conversation should be transferred to the live agents, wherein we have a live agent desk that can be used in order to do two-way communications as well, right? And while the conversation starts, you should be transparent to your customers or visitors, that so that they understand that talking to a virtual assistant, so something like probably our virtual assistant is here to help you, right? Versus let me transfer you to a human agent for further assistance, right? So you should have clear demarcations and transparency with the prospects and the customers that are interacting with you on your communication channel, right? And again, I think there should be also feedback loops that should be established. So for example, during the conversations, all the conversations that are happening for your prospects and customers, there should be clear demarcation with respect to what exactly is it that is not falling under the AI, and what is it that the bot was not able to answer, so that you can retrain the bot on that, and you get a summary of that as well, right? So feedback loops are also very essential. And uh, and in case of, let's say, an irritated customer, or probably the AI was not able to answer to the query to a particular prospect who has come in, there should be an escalation mechanism also, is what I think, wherein in case if the customer is not satisfied, there should be escalations that could probably be done internally at the business level as well. So yeah, so I mean, that is what I think with respect to the question that you raised, Vishal. Right. So
Got it. Understood.
yeah. So I think, Vishal, again, so I wanted to understand with you being in the ecosystem and you understanding business as well, solving problem statements for them. What strategies do you think can be used to bridge the human and technological capabilities and create a symbiotic work environment where both elements thrive, right? So and complement each other.
Okay, you mean the automation technological
Yes.
elements as well as the human element
Yes. Yes.
survive together.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting, Shivam. I mean, see, there are a plethora of options right now, right? Uh, there are a lot of use cases I have come across that claim that okay, this can be done via an automation, or this can be done via AI chatbot, right? Practically, you mean practically? I mean, after the onset of Chat GPT, there are almost all use cases, at least to some extent, can be solved by automation and AI. This is the recurring theme that I come across, right? But what I feel, right, in the space that we are in, I would like to believe that you should keep the customer at the center of the equation, right? As Jeff Bezos would rightly say, uh, design your strategies, design your workflows around the customer, right? So for example, I have a customer of mine, it is in the insurance broking space, right? So what they do is they will not, and insurance, you understand, is a heavily competitive industry, at least in India, right? So what they do is they will not spam the customers at all. They will not send promotional emails. They will not send promotional WhatsApps, right? Only in case their customer fills in a form on their website or books an appointment on their website, only then will they start talking to the customer, right? Having said that, there are other companies who use technologies in a way that they will keep on emailing the customers, keep on SMSing, keep on WhatsApping the customers, right? So technology can act both ways, right? You can use technology to bombard messaging to the customers, or you can use technology in a way by understanding your customers, by understanding the plight of the customer. What is it that the customer is requiring, right? So essentially, when you figure out that okay, this is the theme of my customer base, or this is the expectation of my customer base, I think that around that technological solutions need to be designed, right? That is one of the aspect that I understand that companies should follow. The other thing is essentially meeting customers where they are, right? So over a period of time, I would take example of my father, right? My father, let us say, when he used to have some work in a bank, he would used to visit the bank in their branch, right? Now the things have changed. I can take 100% bet that you and I probably would not have visited a bank branch in the last 6 months, right? Probably more than that. Right now the customer is not at the branch, the customer is on the digital channels, at least digitally savvy customers like you and me, right? So how do you use technology is to meet the customers where they are, right? You ensure that your the tech stack that you have is integrated well, that can solve customers problem where the customer wants the problem to be solved, right? If it is a web app, if it is a mobile app, or it can be as simple as a WhatsApp chatbot, right? It can also ask you mundane question. After all, what questions typically a normal banking user would have? My account got debited but the service not was not availed for. Some of
Yeah.
these questions are the common questions that a banking customer might ask, right? So the theme for me is understanding what the ask of the customer is, number one. Number two is meeting the customers where they are and designing your technology or designing your workflows accordingly. That, as per me, is are one of the two most important features of how you can create a balance between technology and human intervention.
Absolutely. Very rightly said, Vishal. I think a subsequent question that I have for you would be that how do you think we can equip the workforce with the skills and mindsets necessary to build a synergistic relationship with the technology? I'm sure that you've been in the space for quite some time now. So you would also see your colleagues doing it, picking it up as well. So what is your experience on that?
I see. That's a tricky one, Shivam, I would say. But I mean, what I have seen is, see, whenever I talk to any organization in terms of talking about their automation processes or talking about their workflows in general, the common theme that comes across uh, is that their team should be empowered with the right context, right? Whenever, let us say, I reach out to a bank, or whenever I reach out to a e-marketplace, right? The team addressing me should have the right context, right? That is one of the most important or the most critical pillar of how you should, at least enable your team in talking to the customers. Of course, there are a vast majority of tools, right, which you can bombard your organization with, which you can bombard your teams with. But essentially, again, I will go back to my previous point. What is it that your customer is really asking, right? Your customer is asking that if they reach out to someone, there is a personalized, there is a contextual conversation happening with them, right? The customer is, let us say, reaching out to you at night, so your system should be available to respond. At least the first level response should be available in your system, right? So again, if I were to zoom out, you go back to the drawing board, you understand what your customers are asking, what your customers are demanding of you, and then designing or getting those technology systems in place, and then enabling your workforce accordingly, right? Then the other theme that I really come across is, I am a big fan of chat gpt, right? It has lots of beautiful things that it can do, right? So what I have really come across while talking to customers, or while my research online, is enabling your team to ask the right questions, right? Now, for example, let us assume a scenario that you create an internal chatbot which has consolidated your entire knowledge management base, right? So it is as simple as you chat about, how will I add a user to chat 360, for example, and the knowledge base will pop up an answer to you for your in-house team, right? Now, what I understand is enabling your team to ask the right question, right? Or as in chat GPT language, we would say prompt engineering, asking the right question so that the response is the right response that you are seeking for. So I think that is a most critical piece that again will be solved when your teams are, aware of what the customer really wants, what is the expectation of the customer, then taking that as a rule of thumb, going back and enabling your team to ask the right questions. That, I think, are the two themes that really come across, right, across all conversations that I have had, right? Giving them context and enabling them to ask the right questions. Yeah.
Very rightly said, Vishal. I concur with you on this one.
Got it. Now, yeah. So, in fact, while speaking about it, I had a question for you, Shivam. So, basically, while automation offers many benefits, right? What are the potential downsides of over automating customer interactions, right?
Yeah.
And how do we avoid it? And this, trust me, this is a common theme that I, again, come across the customer set that I interact with. How do we stop over automating things or over complicating basic things?
Sure, sure, absolutely. See, I think again, it starts from going to your drawing board and ensuring what exactly are the use cases that you can automate and what is it that you would probably be not putting at stake with respect to automation, right? So, as my personal view, I think over automating customer interactions can definitely lead to a few potential downsides, right? So, for example, impersonal experiences, right? In case if the customer is going through a very mundane flow, the customer will definitely drop off. They would not like to have that experience, right? For that matter, there could be fatigues from constant follow-ups. Maybe you've just put in a follow-up system via the AI, but it has been following up the customer constantly and pestering the customer as well. So over there, you need to ensure that you have fallbacks in place. So let's say in case if the customer has shown that they're disinterested or not interested in your product, you should ensure that you essentially are dropping off the customer from that journey, right? And you're not pestering the customer as a matter of fact, right? So you need to ensure, in order to avoid these pitfalls, it's important to strike a balance between automation and human touch points as well, right? So you need to have essentially uh, the fatigue that is being created by the constant follow-ups. You need to ensure that you have implemented intelligent systems that have frequency capping, let's say, or relevance filters, in order to ensure that these are spaced out and contextually appropriate as well, right? You also need to ensure that the loss of human touch should not be there, right? So in case if there are a few scenarios wherein you are handling let's say luxury brands, right, wherein people, you definitely need to have personalization in place. So you need to ensure what exactly are the touch points wherein you would like the conversations to be handled or transferred over to the human agent, right? In case if you're sending out the, let's say, the brochures or product informations, it can definitely be automated. But in case if the customer has shown inbound query and they've already conversed with you and is rated for that matter, you need to transfer that conversation to a particular agent on the backend side, in order to ensure that your loss of emotional connection and brand loyalty is essentially in place, right? It is not moving out, right? Again, I mean, we have also seen in scenarios wherein errors and misinterpretations are going out of the chatbots as well. So for that, you need to analyze what exactly are the type of queries that are coming in on your chatbot and automation systems, and you need to retrain the bot on that and ensure that there are fallbacks into kicking into well in time, so that the systems do not go off the track. Uh, so that's what I think, Vishal, on this.
I see. I see.
Right?
So basically, again, if we look at it, asking what the, or gathering information from what the customer is telling you, right? So if the
Exactly.
bot is giving you wrong inputs, then you analyze what the customers are actually asking you and then retraining the bot. So again,
Yep.
it really boils down to the point, is it really boils down to the point of what the customer is actually asking you, or what is the customer's demand.
Correct. Correct. Absolutely. Absolutely. And it also comes down to, I think, you need to definitely have a thorough understanding of what exactly are the customer journeys that you would like to make, right? So you need to understand what exactly your customers want. You need to go to the whiteboard, understand, uh, consult people like us who can definitely guide you, because we already are expert in the domain. So we can give you what exactly are the insights from the industry, what pertaining to different segments, because the customer journeys are different across industries, right? So we can definitely help you on that, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I think Vishal, I'm also very curious with respect to, I want so I wanted to ask a question to you, wherein so how can businesses leverage automation and AI to personalize the customer journey at scale, while ensuring that a human touch and is definitely maintained in order to establish trust and connection?
Okay. Uh, Let me try attempting that answer, Shivam. So basically, uh, I am forgetting the name of that person. It is a very good quote. It is probably by Paul Graham, right?
Okay.
Uh, so he used to say that you should do things that don't scale, right? So you start solving things at a very very granular level, or at a very very small level. So for example, I only have Shivam as my customer, right? So what is Shivam's problem statements? I will want to solve it one to one, man to man, right? So you do things at a very granular level that can't scale or that don't scale, right? And once you accomplish that, then you take that approach and scale it for other use cases, right? So it sounds very counterintuitive, but what that gentleman was trying to say was, think of a problem in a very very granular way. Once you have identified the solution of that problem, right, then you try to replicate the solution to all the other different use cases, all the other different problem statements, right? So now coming back to your question, sorry, I took a philosophical turn there.
No worries. Yeah.
But coming back to your question, See, again, my all my interactions or all my answers to questions comes from the point of what the customer is really asking me to do, right? So the theme that I have seen over and over a period of time, over and over the customer interactions, is really, the customer really wants a contextual response, right? Customer really wants a timely response. Customer really wants 24/7 availability, right? These are the common three themes that you can stretch, you can slice and dice in any way possible. But if you then zoom out again, these three things will come out in a really, really strong fashion, right? So, for example, I will give you a very, you might have come across this problem statement again. You probably pay your electricity bills online, right, via Paytm or some other, aggregator, right? So once the payment goes through, it is all, fine, right? But let us say the payment does not go through, then the folks at the electricity board, right, they will they will message me, right, uh, that please pay your bill on time, else we will cut your connection. Kindly ignore if paid. So this is, I am totally stumped by their response, right? You have all the systems in place. I am assuming you are such a big electricity board. You have all the systems in place, right? You should know whether I have paid it or not. You should tell me, or you should not tell. You should not send me this message if I have paid it already. Kindly ignore if you have already paid. This statement does not make sense to me at all, right? So what I am trying to drive home is, you solve these small problem statements. So if this problem statement I would have solved for one customer, the way I would have solved it for one customer, I would have scaled it for millions of customers, right? So that is the intent that I am trying to drive home here. Again, for me, the three things that, really boil down is, can you give a contextual response to the customer? Here in this case, if I am a customer of electricity board, a contextual response for me would be, hey, we did not receive your payment, kindly check with your bank. Or if I have received your payment, or if they have received my payment, thank you for your, paying on time, or stuff like that. That context is missing for me, right? Then the other responses, then the other, key pillar for me is timely response. If, let us say, I raise a query on any shopping platform or any shopping cart, right, uh, I should get an instant feedback from them, or at least I should get an instant acknowledgement, right, that hey, my team is working on your request and we will get back to you after such and such timelines, right? So a timely response is very, very critical. Else, the way the attention spans are reducing, there is immediate frustration, right? If you have instant gratification on one hand, there is a polar opposite of immediate frustration on the other, right? So if I don't get an instant response, I am totally frustrated with the customer or the organization, right? So instant response is the second pillar, right? The third is, of course, it is a no brainer. You have to be 24/7 available. You can't just, you know ask customer that hey, I am 9 to 6 available, talk to me only in this time span. That is not the way business is done these days. So these three key problems, if you solve at really, really granular level, then I think you can scale to millions of customers, or, with the help of technology like Lead Squad or a Chat 360. I mean, if you can solve these problem statements for one customer, then you can solve it for, millions of customers. So that is my, take at it, really, Shivam.
Absolutely, Vishal. So I definitely concur with you on this, and I think very rightly pointed out. In case if you've solved this problem statement for one of your customers, then you end up extrapolating it to the majority or the vast of all your customers as well, right? Again, it boils down to essentially flowing out that, making out that chart, right? Understanding your customer requirements and iterating and reiterating it in order to ensure that you're moving towards a betterment, right? So very rightly
Absolutely.
pointed out, yeah.
And companies like Chat 360 and Lead Squared, are designed to perform these non-scalable
Yeah,
tasks at scale, right? You solve a problem statement for a customer, and I am there to replicate for millions of those customers, right? But you'll
absolutely.
have to really start at, solutions that don't scale, and leave it to you and me to scale those solutions. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. Especially with
Yeah.
generative AI coming into picture, I think a lot can be done, right? So, I mean, you just have to upload your document on the backend side. or probably provide the website or any knowledge base for that matter. That could be in any of the languages, right? And we
Yeah.
at Chat 360 essentially end up making an FAQ bot, or let's say a very generative AI powered vernacular index supported language bot as well, on any of the channels of communication that your customers communicate on, right? So be it your SMS, be it your email. So we provide that truly omni-channel experience to the customers on that front.
No, that's wonderful. That's wonderful, Shivam. Cool. So I think we have talked a lot about general landscape and general practices that we see out there in the industry. I would like to trouble you further and ask you if you can share some real life customer examples from your customer base where you see that these companies are really successfully balancing automation and personalization in the customer journey. Would love to hear those real life instances.
Yeah, absolutely, Vishal. So I think we definitely work with a lot of brands wherein we suggest brands from day one that the experience of the customers while communicating with you across any of the channels should be hyper personalized, right? So for example, if you go to Amazon, right, so you probably select a few products and you do not end up purchasing them, or maybe you purchase them, right? So Amazon essentially stores all of that information on the backend side, and subsequently whenever you come on the website, it gives you recommendations around it, right? So it essentially understands the different data touchpoints that it can gather from customer journey on the website, right? And basis that, it gives you suggestions and personalization feel as well. So Amazon is definitely one bit of it, right? Or maybe in case if I talk about Netflix, right? So it gives you suggestions as well. What exactly is it? Something that you would like to watch. This is your viewing experience or view history for that matter, right? So it essentially ingests whatever you've gone through on the platform. It gathers that and essentially gives you recommendations basis whatever your experience has been, what type of what genre would you like, what genres would you dislike, right? So it gives you suggestions and a recommendation scenario around it, right? Uh, at Chat 360, we've been helping brands like Audi India, we've been helping brands like Motilal Oswal, we've been helping brands like Hexa Health for that matter, wherein even in case if these are from different industries, the motto is same, right? So you essentially need to understand what exactly your customers essentially behave like, what is the information that you have pertaining to a particular customer, and then accordingly you need to present and ensure that the conversation is hyper personalized, right? So we have all those tools which essentially help to ensure that the customer experience is very hyper personalized. So for example, for JMFL, we ensure that so there are a lot of portfolio management consultants that are sitting on the backend side, and then they have customers and they have a mapping with respect to the customers and a PMS manager, right? So what essentially happens is that in case if any of the conversations are coming in from these customers across any of the channels, the conversation is essentially assigned to these particular agents only, right? It does not go to any other agent for that matter, right? Or for that matter, we work with an FMCG brand wherein, in case if let's say a customer has purchased a face wash, right? We send out personalized notification to them after 45 days for a refill or a voucher or a discounted message on marketing on a face wash, because we understand that essentially the shelf life or probably a consumption duration for a particular face wash would be 45 days. So those are the
Lovely.
touch points. So those are the touch points that we work on, right? And we essentially have gathered all that data. We have dealt with different problem statements across different industries, and basis that we have now started suggesting customers what exactly they should be doing in their specific industries, right?
Lovely, lovely. That is fascinating. I mean, the FMCG face wash example is you know struck a chord with me, right? Because these things end up at the last instant,
Yeah.
and for me, typically it happens is, I mean, it is not the right forum, but typically I am out of face wash for a couple of days, and then I realize that okay, yaar, ab to le lena chahiye.
Yeah, exactly.
No, this is wonderful, wonderful, Shivam. Shivam,
That's
I would like to, probably merge to the end of our conversation. I would like to conclude the session basically, but before that, I would love to, understand from you, right? What are the emerging trends in automation and AI that you see, that will impact customer journey in the in the coming years. So a forward looking statement from you, Shivam, I would be keen to understand from your point of view.
Absolutely, Vishal. So I think what we've been observing with us being in the space is that predictive analytics is definitely one bit of it, wherein a lot of companies are working, and a lot of businesses should definitely adopt, right? Wherein you should have hyper personalized predictive suggestions to the customers basis the data that you've captured from your customers as well, right? So that's super important. Uh,
Yeah, Shivam, I can hear you now.
I'm extremely sorry. I think there's some issue with the hotel network, and I had to travel today, so it has been happening again and again. But I'm extremely sorry. But I'll take up the question that you've asked. Right. So I hope I'm audible right now, and everything's fine.
Yes, yes, Shivam.
All right. Sure. So I think coming back to your question, I think predictive analytics is one bit of it, wherein the brand should definitely focus on what exactly is the data that they have from their customers who have made the journey, purchased from them, have been in touch with them for different touch points, be it pre-sales, sales, or post-sale scenarios. And then basis that, you should definitely have hyper personalization in the reach that you want to with respect to which you want to reach out to the customer, right? One is that. Second, I think, is definitely the sentiment analysis bit, right? Wherein you should be able to understand what exactly is the sentiment of your customers, existing customers, right? You should understand what exactly is the entire 360-degree view of your customers after they've made the purchase. What exactly has their experience been? You should capture the feedback, right? So sentiment analysis is definitely one bit wherein I think is a very fast-moving scenario, and there are technologies that are already in place at Chat 360, and also besides Chat 360 as well. But that is definitely one of the places wherein I think the automation in AI that will significantly impact the customer journey, right? Then I think voice is again another bit which I think voice and generative AI, right? Generative AI coupled with voice. So there are different brands that have already started voice chatbots. One of the beautiful use cases that could probably be solved is the loan collection, right? EMI collection for that matter. So there are a lot of, as of now, a lot of NBFC brands are already essentially having huge volume of call centers, right? So huge sized call centers wherein people make calls and they check in case if the EMI will not be defaulted or probably it can be paid back, right? But then essentially using the voice AI, you can have the voice bot kick into place, and these voice are like very similar to humans, right? You could probably not demarcate between a human voice and voice AI as well.
Yeah.
You essentially end up asking these questions to the customers. Yeah, loan EMI default हो रही है, would you be able to pay that, right? Or probably a tentative date that you can capture from the customer, and then you end up essentially ensuring that the collections are to the maximum, or probably a projection of it at least. So huge volume of, I think, call center can definitely be sized down. The scale at which probably you can make out these calls can definitely be increased heavily, right? So I think with respect to, in order to ensure that you are well advanced and probably ahead of the market, I think that you should definitely invest in technology as a business, right? And it's very important, because in case we do not invest in technology, you will definitely be sitting on the back seat, right? So you should definitely invest in technology. That could probably be using tools like Lead Squad or Chat 360, understanding what exactly are the problem statement that they can solve for you and how can they scale your business, right? Second is also training and educating your employees and team on these AI tools. Now that can start with probably, like, one of the use cases that we're doing with Motilal Oswal is to develop an HR bot for them, right? Internal HR bot. So they have a man force of 12,000 employees, wherein the entire HR journey is automated on WhatsApp, right? So starting from orientation, applying for leave approvals for that matter, or probably getting pay slips, getting Form 16s, all of that, or agreements for that matter. So everything can be done 24/7 on these chatbots, right? Using generative AI. So you should definitely adopt train your employees in order to use these technologies, right? And at the end of the day, also ensure that you are doing deeper partnerships and collaborations with businesses that are already implementing these technologies, right? Within the ethical AI framework is what I think, Vishal, right?
Understood.
Yeah. So I think I would like to also understand from you what exactly are your views on this particularly.
Yeah, so I mean, I've said this before as well. See, technology is evolving at a very, very rapid pace, right? Despite you and I being in the technology sector, there are days when you get up from your bed and you realize, wow, what a new use case that AI has found, or what a new use case that a technology can solve. But what I have seen or what I have understood is, virtual or AI assistants for the company, customer facing virtual assistants for the company, as well as virtual assistants for the in-house team of the companies. This is a theme, or this is a use case that will really pick up in the near to midterm, right? So basically, again, it boils down to the same point, right? Wherever the customer is and whatever time the customer is asking you for something, your product or your company should be available for them, right? And what is the best way to do it is probably via virtual bot. It can be hosted on your WhatsApp, it can be on your chat, mobile app, or it can be on your website. But these are really the key element that I see for a customer facing requirement. These chatbots will really uh, help in solving key problems of the customer at any point in time, right? Similarly, the key thing that I see is, internally, if we have a chatbot, right, for internal consumption of the employees, right, then you probably won't have to knock at the doors of different business units. In fact, you can just talk to the chatbot and probably get a right response from the chatbot, right? So these two things, I think, are I see critically in the near to midterm. But yeah, you never know, tomorrow there is a new technology, and it ends up rotating the view 180-degree. So yeah, for today, I think these are the two common themes for me, but tomorrow it might be different.
Correct.
Yeah.
Absolutely, Vishal.
But yeah, Shivam, lovely talking to you. I would, in fact, we are on top of the hour. In fact, I would love to see if there are any questions from the audience. Maybe Vaishnavi will attempt to, answer those in this live session.
Yes. So I see a couple of questions in the questions tab. The first one is, can you share some examples and applications in the higher education space?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think with respect to higher education space, again, the base problem statements are still the same. You end up marketing your the product or the offerings to the customers, and then linking this with your generative AI or the no code engines that you have on the backend side, in order to provide immediate resolutions or question answer query answers to the queries that the customers are raising or the interests that you see. One is that. The second is, for internal use cases, you can also have, let's say, a chatbot that could be used by your students for their skill enhancement, and could be probably a go-to chatbot or a go-to website for that matter, wherein you can ask queries on a specific topic of your interest as well, right? So you can probably go there, you can ask, give me a video of XYZ, whatever for that matter. You can have the video, and then probably you can ask those, you can go through that as well. I'm sure there are a lot of other use cases that we definitely can cater in skill development, right? Vishal, in case if you have any, then probably you can feel free to add, or
Actually, yeah, I mean, top of my mind, I think admission counseling is a beautiful use case that can really be solved, because, a student, while deciding which course or which college to opt for, has a lot of questions, right? So, if, let us say, at an initial stage, they visit, let us say, they interface with a chatbot. This can be a WhatsApp, as simple as a WhatsApp chatbot. They ask certain basic questions on the chatbot.
yeah.
They understand, they at least structure their thoughts, right? Okay, this is the course that is suited for me, or this is the university that is suited for me, right? Then we can pass on to a live human agent, right, which can have this contextual conversation of what a chatbot interacted with the student, and then probably mentor the student accordingly. right? So I think top of my mind, admission counseling is a beautiful use case that I can see that this can really solve. Of course, I mean, if there are multiple use cases that as you rightly pointed out, if we understand the key problem statement at hand, then of course we can design certain solutions for the, the questions we are addressing. But yeah, admission counseling is a key use case that comes top of my mind.
Sure.
Thank you, Shivam. Thank you, Vishal. On a similar line, there was another question that came in from the landing page, which asked to share some examples of personalization in a B2B scenario. I think we've been talking about B2C market so much, we can,
Yeah,
we can share some examples on there as well.
yeah.
Sure.
You would want to attempt that, Shivam, first?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think with respect to personalization in B2B space, we've been helping, in fact, businesses who essentially have a franchisee model, right? So you can essentially solve that problem statement as well, wherein you want to onboard your franchisees, right? On essentially, let's say WhatsApp, because WhatsApp is definitely a habit these days, right? So you can have the entire journey on of franchisee onboarding on WhatsApp itself. And in case if I'm talking about personalization over there, you can essentially get to see in case if the interest has been shown by a particular customer before, or in case if the customer already holds a franchisee, right, with your brand or probably similar brands as well. So using all those information, you can essentially ensure and provide or reach out to the customer with relevant experiences, right? So, for example, in case if a customer has the potential to invest more than 10 CR in your franchisee, right, and has already shown that in the past, then you probably reach out or probably have a different flow altogether for that particular customer or a prospect. And in case if it's a first time customer coming in or a prospect coming in, you essentially can have a default flow wherein you gather the information from the customer, have different touch points that can be gathered as well, and then accordingly the flow can be made, right? Yeah. Vishal, you want
Thank
to
you,
take it up?
Shivam. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, B2B again is very similar to, the problem statements are very similar to a B2C scenario. I mean, so not exactly on top of my mind, but yeah.
Uh, Nishant is asking, do we have any sample flows for this? I think we can
Yeah.
share. Yeah,
I
go
think we
ahead.
can definitely share that. We can share that. In case if there's any specific industry wherein the question is, you can definitely connect with us later. You can drop a mail to shivam@chat360.io as well, or you can reach out to Vaishnavi, and we'll be more than happy to jump on a call to let you know on that.
I have a form for a demo, so you can fill that up and ask us. Like we can show you the sample flows right there. Another question that came in is how can a small company benefit from AI and automation? I think, yeah, there is some anxiety regarding like if it's a small company, do they need to invest or why should they invest in AI and automation for them? Yeah.
Absolutely. So I think now these days with all the technological revolution happening and Chat GPT coming into picture, the cost of implementing automations are not very high, right? Even if you want to start small, you can definitely start small. The intention over here is you need to focus on what exactly are your problem statements at this point of time. Especially in case if you're small, your priority should be growth on your focusing essentially with respect to growth on your business, right? You should be solving bigger problem statements, and you should be able to automate as much as possible, right? Because if you do not start from today, you'll end up putting in a lot of effort down the line, taking out time of your daily routine in order to focus onto this, right? But in case if you start from today, then you already have systems in place, and as soon as you scale, they'll automatically be absorbed within these automation framework, right? You start small, you don't pay much, but then you need to definitely have a framework which can definitely help you scale and help you prioritize on the problem statements that matter to you the most rather than doing the mundane activities, is what I think.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, and in
Uh,
fact, I have different points of view. If you say it is a small company, whether they need to invest in automation or whether they need. Am I back?
Yes, Vishal,
Yes,
we can
yes,
hear
Vishal.
you.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
can hear you, Vishal. Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, I was saying that I have a different lens to view when you talk about that question whether small companies should invest in AI and automation. In fact, I would say small companies should definitely invest in automations, right? Why do I say that? Because in smaller setups, in smaller organization, there is absolutely no room for slack, right? When I say there is absolutely no room for slack, each and every customer, each and every deal, each and every interaction is very very important for you, right? So for example, if a 10 member company is functioning versus a 1,000 member company, right? A 1,000 member company can, take a bit easy either, but for a 10 member company with limited set of customers, you don't want to really rely on, your you don't really want to rely on your staff taking the entire ownership of interacting with the customer. What happens when two of your resources are on leave, right? There is utter chaos, right? So you would want your system to keep on interacting with the customer, right? Because there is so little room to slack off, it is very very important that you have systems and processes in place. Because what will happen is once you start scaling, right, and if you don't have processes and systems in place, it will become very difficult to get a new product online.
Absolutely, Vishal. Time is of the essence, of course. Um, and with that,
Yeah.
I don't see any more questions. There's one last question that I see from Sagar, which is how AI and automation tools can help in generating inbound leads in B2B industry and how efficiently can we implement?
Can you repeat that question again, Vaishnavi?
How AI and automation tools can help in generating inbound leads in B2B industry and how efficiently can we implement?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think, again, it depends upon what exactly is the problem statement, right? We also need to understand what exactly is the industry that Sagar is talking about. I think, Sagar, we can definitely connect offline and you can drop an email to me. I'll be more than happy to take up that question. But on a generic sense, I think AI can definitely, automation can definitely help you increase the number of leads and also help you in reducing your CPL, right? Because once you send out the marketing campaigns by via advertisement, be it on Facebook or be it on your Google Ads or SMS or WhatsApp email blast, the intention over here is that you should be available in order to cater to your interest, right? Whatever interest you are receiving. So that way, in case if you have Gen AI or in place, you should be able to answer to your questions to the customer queries immediate on an immediate basis, because of which the interest of the customers increases and you have like relevant information before you reach out to them in a hyper personalized way over a call or let's say as a one-to-one scenario, right?
Absolutely, Shivam. Thank you so much, Vishal and Shivam, for all of the insights. I think the audience has a lot to take back today, and it was so well put together. But to all those who've joined, thank you for taking out your time for the session. Please feel free to write to us if you have any questions or queries regarding anything specific about our offerings or how we can help you. You could also book a demo to get a more tailored view of how Lead Square and Chat 360 can help you improve your revenue growth. And we'll definitely share a summary of insights and recording to you over email. With that, we would like to conclude our sessions. Once again, thank you so much, Vishal and Shivam, for taking out your time today. Everyone, please take care and have a nice day. We hope to see you in your next session.
Thank you
Thank you
very
so much,
So much.
Vaishnavi, for having me.
It was a pleasure talking
Thank
to
you.
you.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.